Hey, what's up? This is Antonio. Welcome back to my channel. And who's ready for some fighting words? In this video, I want to talk about Devin Haney, the Dream. Looks like he's in a little bit of trouble. But really quick, if you like the videos, please take the time right now. Subscribe to the channel. Only takes one click. Also, hit that thumbs up button. Only takes one click. And let's jump into this. So apparently, Devin Haney got arrested. He got arrested with a weapon, a large weapon. And that's that. So here's my thoughts on this because, people have reached out to me and they just want to know my thoughts. One, he's in the public eye. Two, Devin Haney wears a lot of jewelry, like a lot of jewelry, and he's constantly flossing it. And I think that in itself can get you in trouble. So the boxing world and the hip hop world are pretty much synonymous. They're entwined, almost like, the hip hop world and the basketball world. They're pretty much just entwined. The boxing world kind of, in my personal opinion, I feel like is a little bit more entwined because they both present a level of violence. One is talking about violence and one is showcasing violence. So, in my personal opinion, that they're just always going to be entwined. They're always going to be in the mix with each other. They're always going to go hand in hand. Devin Haney represents that culture. Devin Haney represents everything about hip hop, like the big chains, the floss, the flash. And unfortunately, he also represents the things that are negative about hip hop because I don't know if you noticed, but rappers are dying. I don't know if you noticed, but at least 3 rappers get killed every year. So that being said, something needs to be done, in terms of that. But I can understand why he has a weapon. I mean, I totally can. Again, when you're running around with all that jewelry, unless you're going to be like Floyd Mayweather and you can afford to have 20 guys around you at all times who are all 300 pounds, then I suppose you don't need a weapon, because you've hired the weapons. But if you're not going to do that, then yeah, I suppose you need to arm yourself. Because the reality is he's got a lot of followers on Instagram and, just social media itself. So people know what he looks like. They know what he has because Devin Haney likes posting what he has, which is extremely not smart, which, again, hip-hop world. And it can get you in a sticky situation. Devin Haney is in the clubs. Devin Haney is hanging around these types of individuals. So, yeah, he should protect himself if he's going to do all these things. The reality is, if somebody were to rob Devin Haney, that person can probably retire from robbing. If Devin Haney were going to the club and he had all his stuff on, he could probably retire from robbing. Devin Haney wears a lot of stuff. So, like I said, does it make sense? Yes. Should he flash so much? Probably not. Does he have the right to flash? Yes, he does. He earned it. He earned it the hard way. He earned it with his own blood, sweat, and tears. So there's no issue in him having it. The issue is he lives in a world that not everybody is eating on a regular basis. And you have to be conscious of that. I personally work with gang members, which is another reason why or how I use boxing. It relieves them from stress, but it also teaches them, there's other ways to get out your anger where you're not hurting anybody. You can learn from this, discipline. But I know that world. And I don't 100% think Devin Haney knows that world. You look at some guys and you can tell they come from that world, like the Mike Tysons. You can tell that he came from that world. James Toney, you can tell he came from that world. There's certain guys that when you see him, it's like, yeah, boxing probably saved his life. You know what I'm saying? You'd probably be in prison if it were for boxing. There's those guys. And then there's the guys like Devin Haney, who he might have gotten to, little mischievous types of trouble in school or something like that, but he doesn't strike me as a hardcore gangster or anything like that. Nothing about Devin Haney strikes me as that. I've been around that all my life. I was that at some point, been around that all my life, and I work currently with that. And he don't strike me to be in any category whatsoever to be that type of guy. And for him to be around those types of guys, number one, having those types of guys around presents its own issues. Because when you have those guys around, you're not only dealing with your problems or whatever, you're dealing with the problems that they bring. You're dealing with you may not have any enemies, but they got enemies and they're out with you. You're the celebrity. Who do you think they're going to go after? Them or you? They can get them anytime. They're always out in the street. You're not. You're not always in town. You're not always in the country. Getting you is financial gain. Getting them, more than likely, is just going to be like personal gain. So you have to be conscious about your surrounding. You have to be conscious about your entourage. You have to be conscious about the places that you go. You can't, once you reach a certain level of notoriety, you just can't go anywhere you want to go anymore. You can't say, hey, I'm going to spontaneously go to this club. You may not walk out of that club, or you may not make it. You can't do those things anymore. You got to be more conscious. Like I said, I don't necessarily fault him. I think he's young. I think, Devin Haney, when he first really popped onto the scene, not really popped on, he's always been on the scene, but when he was climbing up the ladder, seemed a lot more humble. And over the last maybe 2 years, very arrogant, cocky in a sense. And listen, I've said this several times and I'll say it again. I don't mind a fighter who's arrogant or cocky, because you need a certain level of arrogance and cockiness to get in the ring. Because there's another individual across the ring from you who's been training for 6 weeks who wants to dismantle you. So by all means, be as arrogant and cocky as you have to be. Because prior to that, you have to go to bed at night and you have to envision this individual. You have to go to the gym in the morning. You have to train and envision this individual. You have to go on long runs by yourself and envision this individual. So I don't knock a fighter being arrogant or cocky, but what I don't like is the flash. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. This is one of the effects of the post-Mayweather era. All these kids who were raised up under Floyd Mayweather, looking up to Floyd Mayweather. I think Floyd Mayweather has done a lot of things that are so positive for this sport. Just teaching people that they can be in control of their own career, promotion-wise, business-wise. They can be in control of their own careers. Also, just proper technique, things like that. Understanding you don't have to take punishment. It's not about, people cheering if you're not going to have longevity in the game. But on the flip hand of that, it's Floyd Mayweather who really brought the flash to the forefront. And he still is the forefront of flash. But there's also like a mystique about that doesn't sit well. And it kind of makes people resent you. Because it kind of puts you in a bracket where the average person, even the average person with wealth, cannot attain or doesn't fit into that bracket. So you're just going to be sitting here by yourself. And Devin Haney, at least what it seems to be, is he's presenting himself to be on this bracket. What it seems to be is he wants to be on that bracket. You got all the belts. You're making a lot of money. You're young. You're impressionable in the sense that, you've been winning. What can go wrong? That could be a very tasty recipe for disaster, if you ask me. Just all those factors, so it's just, then I looked, Devin is one of the few fighters that actually has a dad where they seem like they have a solid relationship. In which case, I hope he's, somebody's pulling him aside. Listen, I understand that he's the moneymaker. And again, this goes back to hip hop and rappers. I understand this person is the moneymaker, but this person is the person that everybody wants to get rid of. This is the person who's hated. This is the person that people don't like. This is the person that people are targeting. You have to be aware of these things. And that's why having an older person around saying, hey, I think you need to slow down, or hey, I don't think you need to do that. Or, hey, listen, if you feel like you need to take a weapon to this club or to go to this particular neighborhood, maybe you just shouldn't go. And this is advice that I give every single day, actually. Maybe you just, listen, if you got to take a weapon to go over there, maybe you shouldn't go. If you need X X amount of individuals to go inside that club with you, then maybe that's not the club for you to go to. Maybe it's just not a clubbing night. Maybe you should go bowling. I don't know. But maybe it's not a clubbing night. If you need 20 guys to walk in the door with you, if you feel unsafe, then don't do it. Don't go. Simple as that. Or just simply don't wear all that jewelry. Like, if you don't feel like you can protect this, then don't wear it. Don't wear it. It's as simple as that. Don't wear it if you don't feel like you can protect yourself. If you feel unsafe, if you can't walk around in the streets by yourself with it, then maybe you have a little too much on. Simple as that, because it's not worth dying over. And again, I'm saying this as somebody who's in the streets with gang members every single day. So I'm not just somebody who's talking. I do this for a living. And I'll still wear jewelry and things like that. But I'm not on his tax bracket, so I can do that. Him, on the other hand, should not be doing that. I've seen some of the people he's around, and all of them don't strike me as businessmen. A lot of them strike me. Once you get a certain amount of money and you're a certain age, you're the champ. Everybody wants to hang around you, and before you know it, your entourage of 10 has turned into an army of 50, and you're like, who's that guy? Like, I don't even know that guy. He walked in with me, but I don't even know that guy. And that in itself is a problem. And that could lead to, once again, a recipe for you feeling like you need to protect yourself from everything, from the things unseen and also the things seen. So my advice to Devin would just be to maybe slow down. More importantly, my advice to be whoever is the elder of the camp. I mean, his own father is there. So I guess I'd be talking to Bill. Just have that conversation with your son. To all the older guys, have the conversations with him, because I get it. He's the moneymaker for the team. But if he's not around, you won't be making any money. So keep your eyes on the prize and think about the long game, and have that conversation. Maybe you need to slow down. Maybe you shouldn't be hanging around certain people. Maybe you shouldn't be flashing as much. And maybe you shouldn't be posting on social media, letting everybody know what you have, so that when they do see you in public, they don't see you as an opportunity for them. Those are just my thoughts. Drop your thoughts down below. As always, I love to hear what you have to say. Please like, please share, please subscribe to this channel.